Oh no, is that a groundhog? I gotta do something. He's gonna eat all my veggies.
By the time I got outside, the groundhog had already eaten all the tops off the sweet potatoes in my sweet potato patch. I had to hurry and do something quick if I wanted to have any kind of a sweet potato harvest this year. For this super simple DIY project, all you'll need is a couple of hula hoops from the dollar store and a way to cut them. I'm just using my garden shears here. And I'm measuring about the width of the bed, not anything exact. I just held it up to the side of the bed to see how wide it needed to be, cut a section, and then placed it in the ground. You could try to make this more secure by adding some brackets to hold the hula hoops in place. You could also use PVC pipe, but I was going for quick and cheap here, so I just stuck it right into the ground. I'm using a section of the previously cut hoop to decide how big to make the next one so that they would all be roughly the same size. This doesn't have to be perfect here. The idea is to get something up on the bed and cover the bed to protect it from other critters. It doesn't have to be perfect, although with these pink hula hoops, it is quite cute. Up next, I'm unrolling a thick construction grade plastic. I think it's a 1 point something mil. I'm not exactly sure. You could also use a roll cover mesh or frost cloth, but this is what I had on hand, and this is what I'm going to use today. I know that sweet potatoes like the heat, so the greenhouse effect caused by the plastic might actually help them to grow a little bit better. However, you'll see that I also have some sugar snap peas planted in here that do not love the heat and they were unfortunately a casualty of this DIY project, but with the 95-degree days that we had coming, they probably wouldn't have made it anyway. I knew that I would want to have this secure so that it wouldn't blow away in the wind. So I used some landscape staples and folded the plastic and stapled it down on one side, leaving the other side open, just pressing a heavy planter against it so that if I needed to open it up and either let some air in or check on how the plants are doing, I would have an easy way to get back into the bed. Knowing that inside of a greenhouse you can get temperatures way hotter than the outside air temperature, a day that's 80 or 85 degrees could be well over 100 degrees inside a greenhouse. So knowing that I had a plastic covering that was going to hold heat very well, I decided to cut some slits in for ventilation just to make sure it didn't get too hot too quickly and kill the sweet potatoes. After securing the last of my 4 sides on my sweet potato row, I decided that I'd take the remaining hula hoops and set up a low tunnel over my other bed, which I'm anticipating planting some tomatoes, peppers, and other seedlings for my sauce garden. I didn't have any more plastic to add today, so I just put the hula hoops in, thinking that I could cover it later with a row cover or frost mesh or insect netting if I needed that to protect young seedlings before it was time for them to fruit and flower. Obviously, you wouldn't have them covered with your row cover mesh once they're flowering, or they'd never get pollinated and you'd never get fruit. But the idea here is really that I just want to give enough protection to my plants while they're young and very fragile, so that if there's any animals or critters or young toddlers running around, that they would not crush the plants before they're big enough to survive. Now it's finally time to plant my tomatoes. I am digging a hole and adding a little bit of a granular, slow-release organic fertilizer to each of my planting holes, and then adding in my tomato seedlings. One final way that I'm keeping unwanted pests away from my garden is by planting companion plants, or plants to send away or distract or confuse pests. So marigolds planted next to my tomatoes helps keep some of the insects that would otherwise want to eat our tomatoes away from the garden. So I'm planting them in a row on all four sides of the outside of the bed, so that hopefully these marigolds will grow up and create a beautiful aroma that tells our critters to stay away. By the way, if you're new here, my name is Raina. Welcome. I love to share about gardening, nature, and the outdoors. I'm passionate about sustainability and all things eco-friendly. If that sounds like something you'd be interested in, feel free to follow along on my journey of transforming my backyard into a space that is a haven for animals, wildlife, and produces so much food for me. If you enjoyed this video, you might also enjoy my video where I shared about my best hacks for finding free plants, and I will link that one in the cards so you can watch that one next. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!